Hey guys, what is up? My name is Leo and you're watching the Argent Leo's gaming channel. This video is part 1 in my Grounded with Fortnite series, How to Win Without Building, in Chapter 3, Season 2. Chapter 3, Season 2 has begun with our powers slightly muted. And when I say slightly, I mean they're gone. If you haven't already noticed, in the start of Season 2, we can't build. Which means we gotta learn how to scurry, like insects or rodents, or like ordinary mercenaries. You can't just throw down a wall, a few ramps, a roof, and hope to survive, no matter how bad your ping is. You gotta play fair, something we're not used to doing. So we've lost building, but we've also gained a few new powers. We can sprint. We can leap, and we can climb. Oh, can we climb? We also developed a resistance in the form of an overshield, which shields you from the first shot your opponent may land on you. Is this enough, you may ask? To the informed, it may just be. Well, it clearly sends the uninformed running for their dear lives. So if you may be an uninformed party, you found the right video. So let's be grounded with Fortnite, and while we're at it, let's learn how to win without building in Chapter 3, Season 2. Okay, let's get right into it. As we've already discovered, and as I've mentioned earlier, we've got a few new powers. We can sprint, and while sprinting you're going to find a bar on the bottom left hand side of the screen. It's just above your shield meter, and that will tell you for how long you can sprint and how much steam you've still got before you start running normally. There you can see the bar moving, and there you see me running out of steam. We've also got a thing called an overshield. So at the bottom left hand side of your screen, there's that little blue shield. So how that works is, if you estimate and if you look at the number that it's given you there, it's 50. So I estimate that it gives you around 50 shield. It does regenerate, so it will definitely take the first hit that you receive from your opponent, but it does deplete quickly, and then after that your shield is vulnerable, and your shield will be then depleted as your opponent fires at you and hits you with his bullets or her bullets, and eventually your shield will deplete completely, and then your health bar will be exposed, and that will be shot up, and then you get sent back to the lobby. So how can we avoid that? Well, we're obviously going to have to play a little bit more stealthy, and then pounce on your opponent, shoot him dead, and then move on to the next one. I'm not saying that you've got to play that way. That could definitely be a strategy for some people, but you could also master the movement mechanic and then, kind of sprint past your opponent, turn around and fire on your opponent that way, and that could be another strategy. You could climb a few walls, get higher ground, and then shoot your opponent from an elevated vantage point. That could be another strategy. You could also use a shockwave grenade and launch yourself into the air. Using a shotgun, deplete your opponent's overshield, crack the regular shield, and once you've landed, you can use an SMG to finish your opponent off. This has been a strategy mastered by Cypher PK in the past, and has proven to be extremely effective in previous seasons. You could become a bush nomad, develop your zen with the bush, and migrate from one bush to the next, sniping your opponents, using the bush as cover and fire while hidden. Or you could lay in wait until an opponent wanders by, pounce on them, and shoot them all the way back to the lobby. You could also use a vehicle not only as a mode of transport, but you can fire at your opponents through the windows. You can reposition within the cabs. You can also use the vehicle to quickly get away from your opponent if your opponent has good aim, and you find that the window shooting strategy isn't working out for you. You could also use the vehicle as a mobile shield or hide behind. You could quickly deploy from the vehicle and hide behind the vehicle while firing at your opponent. Using this strategy, you could carry a new item that is available in Chapter 3 called the Repair Torch. Using this item, you could repair your vehicle from time to time if you are using the vehicle strategy. This will avoid you from having to change your vehicles too often. Another new item to Chapter 3 is called a cow catcher. This can be used to fortify a vehicle. It may be deployed as a hide behind to protect you from an opponent's onslaught, or as a hide behind to protect you enough to destroy a manned tank. I will be using some, possibly all of these strategies through my series of videos entitled Grounded with Fortnite: How to Win Without Building, Chapter 3, Season 2. I do suspect that building will return soon. Fortnite obviously wanted to change things up a bit. This is obviously not an April Fool's joke. It's come way too far from April. And removing the building is a great way for players to get used to the new movement mechanics. The powers that be have obviously spent a lot of time developing them. I have to say though, it would be cool to receive an apology from Fortnite about removing the building mechanic, and as a consolation be gifted a new character wearing a huge pair of running shoes. But I wouldn't hold my breath for that. I am commenting on a win video, so let's talk a little bit more about what's going on the screen. As the storm approaches, this is the perfect opportunity for us to analyze the sprinting mechanic and to see how advantageous it is in avoiding getting trapped in the storm. As you can see, what I'm trying to do is to use the sprint mechanic, and as the bar gets depleted, use the slide mechanic and then repeat the process. It's kinda working. I am staying close to the edge of the storm, and the safe zone isn't too far. I do believe that I would be worse off without the sprint mechanic. Getting stuck in a tree doesn't help either. I was fortunate enough to find some chug splashes, which I'm using to regenerate my health bar as the storm depletes it, and using the shockwaves to leap closer to the safe zone. Another useful item would have been the mid mist, as you can use it while moving to regenerate your health bar. It's always a good idea to search your surroundings, as you could always find meds, better weapons, and open chests. And opening chests increase your XP. Open ammo crates and find bullets all over the show, as you can never have too many bullets. I must admit, finding shotgun ammo seems to be a bit more harder in this season. While on the subject, there is a new shotgun in Fortnite. It's called a drum shotgun, and it fires almost as well as an SMG. Being that it fires almost as well as an SMG, running with two of those types of shotguns and an SMG could be an effective strategy for kills. In this gameplay, I have spent way too much time close to the storm, and I better get a move on. It is important to speak to all the NPCs that you do come across, as this contributes towards increasing your XP. NPCs usually gift you one item and give you an option to buy a service or other items that they may be selling. For example, this NPC is called the Foundation, and I've just purchased shockwave grenades from him. Some NPCs give you the option to duel them for a specific weapon, or you could just fight an NPC and take the weapons that they carry. Usually NPCs carry weapons in the blue range, so if you do fight one, you would usually get a blue weapon, sometimes even a gold weapon. While on the subject, the tier weapons that you would find in Fortnite range from grey to gold. Grey being a common weapon, and the worst or entry level weapon that you may find, and gold, legendary, which would normally be the best weapon on the map. You also will find a green weapon, a blue weapon, and a purple weapon. And the tiers are as follows: grey, green, blue, purple, gold. And then you also do get special weapons that some of the bosses carry, or you can find in certain locations on the map, depending on the season and the theme for that season. Oh, by the way, NPC stands for non-player character, or you could just call them AI characters. That could work too. Let's get back to the gameplay. Things get a bit real in about just now. Pausing on this plateau for a while, I'm actually trying to gauge exactly where the fights are coming from. The closest battle appears to be to the left of me. A stray bullet whizzing by confirms that. I'm going to drive a little ahead and try and get out of sight of my opponent's view. This will give my opponent a false sense of security and allow me to surprise that player. Strafing from left to right while firing will allow auto-aim to engage and also make me a more difficult target to hit. I am currently being third-partied, but using the mantle technique, I'm able to surprise my opponent yet again with an elevated attack from the roof. There seems to be 3 other players in the immediate vicinity, and once again, I need to gain higher ground. My opponent is vigilant enough to spot me on the roof, and scurries towards the building to make for a harder target. I reposition and attempt a ground attack instead. I'm able to get off the first shot. My opponent turns and attacks in defense. Better aim and possibly a higher shield allows me to win that engagement. Low health forces me to enter a building to avoid opportunistic attackers. Scudding upstairs and falling clumsily back to ground floor forces me to use a shockwave grenade to escape imminent death. I'm able to reposition and use some chug splashes to increase my health. My safe haven doesn't last long, and I'm forced yet again to use another shockwave to prolong my life. Finishing off with the slide and sprint mechanic, I retreat to regroup, find heals, and plan my next move. Expecting more attacks, ever vigilant, however, it seems like my immediate vicinity is free from opponents. This gives me the opportunity to freely search the immediate area for heals. Still, ever vigilant, just in case. I discover a cooler on a nearby rock formation. In the interest of safety and convenience, I decide to harpoon its contents closer to me. I use its contents to replenish my health, as I was fortunate enough to find some more chug splashes. I once again turn and collect the harpoon gun, as I do anticipate that it may be useful in the near future. Once comfortable with the health that I've gained, I need to find higher ground. These zip-ups are vertical zip lines and can now be found all over the map. They assist you to reach plateaus otherwise unobtainable without building. Now that I've found higher ground, I'm able to look around and see where the other players may be at, using whatever I can find in my immediate vicinity to try to gain full health and shield, while searching for other opponents. Sometimes chests may be found in odd places, requiring a little bit more effort in order to get to them. If available, I do opt for higher tier weapons towards end game. Early to mid game, I really don't make a fuss about it, as prolonged life expectancy is generally poor. It is good practice to use your map when plotting your next move. A clear idea of objects in your immediate safe zone may give you an idea of where you might find your opponents, and a good understanding of the map may give you an idea of possible migration patterns in future games. After looking around a bit, I am comfortable enough to continue searching for better heals. I am pleasantly awarded with chug splashes. I prefer chug splashes to basically most of the healing items on the Fortnite map at present, as chug splashes not only replenish your shield but your normal health as well. And if you've got a healing item that heals both shield and health at the same time, you are able to have one more slot to either carry another item or weapon. For example, in this gameplay, I am able to carry some shockwaves in my extra slot. My weapons layout would generally consist of a long range weapon, a short range weapon, a healing item, and an escape item. I'm once again scouting the immediate area to see if I can locate where my opponents are at, and now stealthily moving closer to them, careful not to give my immediate position away. Still, ever vigilant, as you can have an opponent hiding anywhere on the map. While moving forward, also be vigilant with regards to any animals that may be prowling around in the immediate vicinity, as you don't want to lose unnecessary health from an attack from them. Unnecessary combat with animals will give your position away. Also, looking at the map, you can see that there are a number of supply drops still available. Opening them when you don't need the content will also give your position away. Good players will leave supply drops to novice players in order for them to give their positions away. And in late game, it's all about where you are. If no one can find you, nobody can kill you. This is the first game that I have won in Chapter 3 Season 2, so I did play rather stealthily. Using a rock as cover, I determined exactly where my opponent was at. I observed my opponent for a while, and I saw that he was also trying to locate me without giving his own position away. I decided to get off the hill that I was standing on, because if I did move towards him, he would easily be able to spot me, and if he decided to move straight towards the safe zone, then he'd be able to spot me as well. I found a barricade that possibly would assist me to move along without being seen should my opponent move directly towards the safe zone. Even though I incorrectly anticipated my opponent's next move, I still had the upper hand hiding behind the barricade. I was able to get the initial few shots in and ultimately win the gunfight. Analyzing that gunfight, there was a point where he was getting more shots in on me, and I needed to break that, and I did that by quickly moving behind the barricade and out again. Fellow gamers, we've come to the end of this video. I hope I did give you guys some valuable information, tips and tricks, and yeah, please do like, subscribe, share, follow, and I will see you guys in my next video. Take care and bye bye for now.